Hello all and welcome to Movie Bears Podcast TV. I'm Brad Harris, and now and then, when our schedules permit, I am joined by my wonderful, wonderful friends, co-hosts, and just awesome people in general to review new episodes of TV. Sometimes we talk old TV, but it's not the summer yet, so we still have plenty to talk about, thank God. Welcome Casey Scott to the show. Hello, Casey.
Hola, ¿cómo estoy? How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
It's the extent of my Spanish.
Getting a little Latin in there.
That's all I know. Yeah.
Little flavor. I like it. And you just heard from him, Stephen Hesselin. Welcome as well.
Howdy ho, everybody.
Whew, it's been a few weeks since we've been able to do this. Been going through like MBP TV withdrawal, guys. I gotta tell you.
Somebody doesn't have a DVR, so we had to push a week. Casey.
Wait, what was that about? Well, I don't remember why we pushed last week.
I think you had to watch Survivor live, which I totally get.
Oh, that's right. No,
Yeah.
I have to watch it live because I have another pool going. So.
Yeah, scheduling was kind of wonky last week anyway. You can blame me. I had Book of Mormon that night.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
that was my fault. We had to push.
Did you love it?
I did. It was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's not one of those musicals that like I'll probably be singing along to in my car ever, but it was a lot of fun. So
yeah,
that's cool.
It's no Rent, but that's a whole nother type of podcast.
It doesn't have songs that you can. It doesn't. I think that's true. I think it's a show that you can go. Spam-A-Lot was kind of like that too, where it's like the comedy musicals don't necessarily have songs that become standards. But
right, definitely. But we're here and we're on the horse
queer
again.
too.
Yeah,
and we're queer. And wait, you guys are gay? What the hell?
As the day is long.
Yeah.
Well, we have a big show this week. We are going to be talking about new episodes of The Walking Dead. That's back. Better Call Saul is back as well as Survivor. So, a lot to talk about this week. Are you guys ready just to jump right in?
Yes.
Let's hit it.
Not much to talk about.
All right, here we go. Our discussion of The Walking Dead. All right, so we've all seen the first two episodes, right? Since they've come back from the hiatus. All right, perfect. Casey, why don't you start here? We don't necessarily have to do like episode by episode breakdown, but we can just talk sort of generally, I guess. How are you feeling since we've come back from the hiatus?
Well, the first two episodes have been a complete roller coaster because
I think that's a perfect description.
Yeah, because it's like lots of highs and lows in two episodes. It's crazy what kind of shifts can happen. With the writing and with the characters and everything. The first episode coming back, I thought it was well done. I think there's a lot of fan backlash that kind of didn't think. I guess, well, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the last two episodes, then skip ahead. look at the time and skip ahead to Better Call Saul, which we'll be talking about next, I think. But the first episode I thought was. It was so brutal. It was just like, I don't think we've seen a child be eaten alive on the show yet. So that was, even no matter how you
we've seen a child being shot in the head, but
well, that was like one of the highlights of the show, which sounds it was so dramatically important for the character of Carol that it was it was a major episode. But this was just like, and the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking, okay, this is in his head, this is a dream sequence, and then it just
that's what I thought too.
And it kept escalating and escalating. I was like, oh shit, there's no way. Oh my god, this is so horrible. So you see this entire family decimated. And then it's like, cut to commercial. It's just like, oh my god, wow, they really are going for it.
I'm so glad they went to commercial, though, because while most people needed a moment to, like, breathe, I needed a moment to get all the cheering out of my system.
I know.
Oh my god, cheering!
Thank you. I hated that kid.
Well, I did hate the kid.
I wish they had done that months ago.
Right, exactly. It was terrible. I felt bad for Jesse, though, because, Jesse was... And there were fans who were kind of like, well, She didn't really have anything going for her. She was badly developed. I mean, she was the survivor of a domestic abusive relationship. She showed that she had some mettle in her during the wolves invasion. So she had potential there. And so I think fans forget that during the break, that there was stuff going on with Jessie that was interesting. But those kids, as in real life, kids can be an anchor. So that's, you kind of, that's where I think the problem lie with her, was that she let her kid's post-traumatic stress stuff go completely ignored. She gave that kid no no support and no help when he was dealing with this stuff, and it came back to bite her in the ass, quite literally. Which is tragic. And then the whole Carl thing was insane, and I'm sure people were cheering at that, but I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen here? This is horrible. Because I kind of am tired of Rick having bad stuff happen to him, but just makes him more of an insane maniac, as we saw in the aftermath. But I really liked the first episode. I thought it got back to a good start. There were some logic lapses here and there, but I think it had a really good pace. There's a lot of adrenaline rush going on. And then the second episode was like a complete 180 in terms of emotions. It kind of felt like the Dukes of Hazzard for a lot of it. It was kind of like,
I get that.
Yeah, like there was that. There's a little chase sequence where they introduced Jesus from the comics, and my brother was very excited about that. And I'm intrigued. I think he's an interesting character already from the little that we know of him. But they have to both go out and chase him with the truck going, and I could hear the Benny Hill music, and I like.
Someone actually made a video of that. I was watching it earlier.
I need to see that, because I was just like, okay, I didn't hate that. I kind of like a lighter touch to the show. It gets so dark after a while, you kind of need some lightness.
Exactly.
That was fine. I thought the Deanna stuff didn't make any sense whatsoever with the Deanna zombie, because last time we saw her, she was facing down this whole swarm of zombies down the barrel of her gun. How she got out relatively unscathed, and they somehow got out of the wall when all the zombies within the walls were basically taken out by the Alexandrians. I don't know how that happened. So that really stuck in my craw. And I've already expressed my thoughts on Facebook on Rishon, and I don't like it. Yeah. I think it's a terrible choice for Michonne. I think that's my biggest problem, is that I think Michonne can do better. She deserves better, because Rick is a train wreck. And I just don't want to see this character further neutered, kind of like Andrea was, where Andrea became completely...
It's subservient to Rick.
Exactly. I don't want that. Like, Andrea just became basically, subservient to the governor, and then she became pointless, and then her death was ultimately not that effective, because it was just get rid of her. She served her purpose. She doesn't do anything on the show anymore. And I think Michonne's a strong enough character that it's not going to happen, but I still don't like it. It's not a path I wanted her to go down to hook up with this terrible choice. It doesn't make sense to me.
So sounds like a lot of misfires here for you.
In the second episode,
Yeah, definitely. Steven, how about you? How are you feeling about the state of the Walker world, so to speak?
I loved the first episode. It was like everything I've ever wanted in any Walking Dead episode ever. It was just, it starts off with this really tense standoff with the Negan crew, which I've heard about this whole Negan thing for a while, and so I was like, oh my gosh, this is the start of it. And then all of a sudden they just blow up, and you've got a bazooka in Daryl's hand. I'm like, oh my god, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then it goes right from that into them taking, like those, the kids, getting ripped apart, and, Carl getting shot in the face, which I thought Carl was dead. I didn't know the whole storyline with Carl and the one eye. So
Gotcha.
I was just like, oh my god, they just decimated 4 characters in a matter of 2 minutes.
Right.
And one of them being Carl. Now Rick's going to go AWOL.
Right.
But I guess you can survive a gunshot to the face.
It's possible.
I know it is possible, actually.
Thank God. Like, what's Malala, the survivor? Girl.
So it's I was just like, oh my god. But again, the only thing I didn't like about those that family getting ripped apart and killed is that I wish it had been. I know it sounds weird, but I wish it had been spread out.
Yeah.
Like, it was just sort of like we got a whole season and a half of them being wham 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 whiny, and then they just get taken out in 2 seconds. It's like, really, you couldn't have killed the kid last season and one of the other kids another season, and then but I like the fact that they teased that this was going to be Rick's love interest for a whole season, and then just took her out, and I was like, oh, I guess we're switching directions here.
Right.
And then the town coming together, and it's sort of like, family by fire. It's just like they're finally getting it, and Rick is finally seeing that these people have potential, and so I really like the direction it was going. But I agree. Then the second episode takes this total left turn. And it's I think the Dukes of Hazzard reference was a good one because it was sort of slapstick a little bit, but it was fun. I mean, and I agree, change of tone is necessary. I enjoyed it, but I actually thought when the show opened and it did sort of a flash forward to later on when Carl's recovering and you see Michonne sort of like in a bathrobe. I thought Rick and Michonne were already hitting it. I thought they were hinting that they were like a family now. It was like, new mom and dad and all that stuff. But I guess then later on when they hook up, that was the first time. But yeah, then they do that thing, and I don't understand the Jesus character. I've never heard the reference to him. I don't know if he's a big deal or not, or if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I enjoyed his character. I thought he was fun, and I liked that he did some like martial arts stuff or something. I just thought it was interesting and a nice break of pace. I'm looking forward to sort of what he's bringing. But then, at the end when he pops in on Rishon, and we almost see Rick's Wang, but
can we not?
I would like to.
Yeah, but it was. I don't know. I don't feel like they're. I mean, I don't know if this is a storyline in the comic or not, but I don't get the feeling that they're going to be a couple. I think it's just sort of like, you're horny, I'm horny, I trust you, you're the only one I trust. Let's just do this sort of thing. I'm getting that sort of vibe, but.
I don't know. I don't trust that. I don't trust the show to be that sensible about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, they fuck up. They fucked up characters throughout the whole series run. So.
Well, do you guys mind mild comic book spoilers?
I would love them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, listeners, if you do not want to hear comic book spoilers, come back in about a minute. In the comics, Andrea never died. She's still alive, and she and Rick are like doing the whole shacking up, being a family thing with Carl. So this whole like Rick Michonne thing is like totally not in the comics at all. Like it's
I didn't
totally
think so.
Right.
Yeah, it's totally a new thing. But yeah, I don't know, these couple of episodes. I think it's kind of a reverse for me. The first episode I was not like head over heels about.
Oh.
I just felt like there were some things that were set up in the mid-season ender that we really didn't get any payoff on. Specifically the Carol Morgan fight and that whole showdown. Right. We basically see them for like a second and a half, right?
Yeah.
And we really don't get any resolution to that, or and I'm sure it's coming. We've had a couple episodes now where it's not been really anything, but I'm sure even with the second episode, which happens weeks later, you would think that we would at least get a moment with them and see some kind of status update, but we didn't really. And I felt like this whole, first of all, it was great seeing Carl get shot in the eye. That's something that happened.
Oh my God.
And I've known it's been coming for a while, but I didn't want to mention it because it's one of those things that's like, it's unexpected, and you're like, oh my God, what? Is he dead? And in the comics, I thought he was dead too, and I was like, yes! Oh my God, yes, this is great! But no, he lived, unfortunately. And so, he will live on to eat more pudding from a can on a roof.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
he has better food choices in Alexandria.
I know, right? But it'll be interesting to see how they carry that forward. I mean, he's pretty much either going to have to wear a bandage or some kind of prosthesis now going forward.
Right.
So I'm sure that will be fun for him. But one thing I actually did like about the premiere, though, was the Denise character, the doctor.
Yeah.
I really loved seeing her sort of get galvanized by her experience with the wolf. And like when she looks out the window and she sees Rick like running with Carl, I love that moment where she's just like, "Yep, okay, let's do this." And
right.
she, like,
Exactly.
goes into battle mode.
Turns into
You know,
ER
what I mean?
doctor.
It's like an
Yeah.
ER. It's like, okay,
Right.
what needs to happen? We're going to do this. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I think her acting is just so superb there because as she like kind of shrugs her shoulders, you just see this sort of confidence wash over her body.
Right.
Like her features just change, and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Right.
So I hope she doesn't die anytime soon.
I know.
She's an amazing actress. I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're watching Nurse Jackie, right, Brad?
I am,
How
and
good
obviously,
is she on that show?
oh, she's great. She's my favorite
She's-
character on that
Yeah,
show.
she's my favorite
Like, I
character of
love
that
her.
show. The whole
Yeah,
season,
she's
the whole
awesome.
show.
She's awesome. But yeah, so there's that. You know, going into the second episode, I liked the levity too. It was nice to see Rick and Daryl kind of have this misadventure.
Yeah.
And not to be that like dick douchebag who like corrects people, but his name is Jesus, like the Bible, not Jesus. So, and I only mention that because it's a very sort of important aspect of his character. He's kind of like this Jesus figure, and we'll learn more about him as we go.
And I thought maybe it was a thing. So
No worries. It's actually pretty common. A lot of people who have been reading the comic, who've been reading the comics when he's first introduced, they think it's Jesus, but it's Jesus. But I have been waiting for this character to come onto the show for a long time now, so I'm actually super stoked that he's here. I can't wait to see what happens with him. This whole Rick and Michonne thing, I'm kind of in the minority, I guess, but I like this element.
Oh my God.
I know, Casey. We're gonna like have a throwdown or something, but
Oh my God.
it's one of those things where I actually feel like they've had some chemistry sort of working in the background for a while now. And Steven, you kind of brought this up a little bit. I think it's mutual trust. I think she's the one person that he can stand like back to back with in a fight and know that he'll be safe, that she's got his back. So why not stand front to front with her? Whether it's a hookup situation or it's becoming a romantic interlink, I don't know yet. I'll be interested to see. I'm guessing even if it's a romantic thing, it's going to be temporary. I just feel like even though those characters sort of have this lifestyle in common, I think they're different enough that romantically, I don't know that it would necessarily work long term. But you know what? I'm okay with them getting a little.
A hookup is fine. It's like, hey, everyone's got to relieve some tension here and there, and might as well do it with someone you trust. And
right.
But at the same time, I agree with you. I don't see them as a long-term fit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the whole episode was setting them up as a domestic couple, so I think the show is going to be heading in that direction. I don't think it's going to be like, well, yeah, we're just releasing some tension or whatever. It should have, honestly, it felt like when Mary Tyler Moore went out on a date with Lou Grant, and then they started to make out, and then they started laughing and realized, this is silly, we're friends. It's like, that honestly is what should have happened here. It's like, you know what, this is weird. And someone else commented on the AV Club and said that they got a Luke and Leia vibe from the kissing scene. It's like, kind of, because essentially they're kind of, it's very incestuous at this point, because it's like they've been together for how long? They've, it's kind of like a family thing.
Well, it could be one of those things where it's temporary and they realize it's just not going to work. I mean, one of the things that Michonne does for Rick is she sort of like grounds him in a way. She pulls him back from himself. She's constantly the one that's like, Rick, you're doing the wrong thing, for blah, 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 blah. So romantically, like having someone that is that like moral nag, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. I'm willing to give it some length on the leash, let it run for a little while, see where it goes. But I hope that the stuff with Negan gets spinning up here pretty soon. I was stoked, like you, Steven, to see them in that first episode. Of course, it's weeks later, nothing from them in episode 2, but I'm sure it's coming soon. So Jim, unfortunately, totally gave up on The Walking Dead after the first episode.
I saw that, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
he's done. Oh, wow.
He threw the remote down on the couch, stood up, and he's like, I'm fucking done with this show. I don't care to watch it anymore. He's like, you have free reign to watch it on your own all you want.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back? What was it?
It was I think, and I could be wrong, and if he's listening, he can come in the room and correct me. I think what it was is that moment when, like, Rick brings Coral in and they start to work on him, and then he runs outside with his axe with, like, a million zombies out there. After he's been telling this town the whole time, like, you know, you can't be stupid, you gotta da-da-da-da. Well, he goes out there by himself in his rage, and somehow he's all, like, able to get everyone, like, America, Alexandria, fuck yeah.
See, I actually liked that moment. Because
it pissed me off because I was like, you're once again drawing everyone into danger with your stupid bullshit. Yeah,
exactly. and see, but I think it's great that you liked it, and there are parts of it I like too. I like seeing the people of the town finally get their shit together and help out.
I just felt like they needed to break that shell of, like, cowering in fear. It's like they got to take control of their lives, and to me it was more symbolic than actual literal. It was them taking control.
And I agree. I think that's a great thing. I think having a bazillion zombies there, though, and, like, none of them really dying as they're all, like, coming forward, and, like, the music they were playing and how they were, it just came across as really, really cheesy and forced. And so I think that you know, straw that broke the camel's back for Jim. I was like, oh God, really? But the second episode really redeemed it a lot for me. So we'll see where things go. But I don't know. It sounds like our reactions are kind of mixed across the board a little bit.
Interesting. Well, you know, I was in Jim's position way back several seasons ago when we were in governor territory, and I was done. I was like, you know, fuck this. Like, Andrea has become boring. I don't give a shit about this governor nonsense. Like, none of the other characters are doing anything interesting. Herschel's driving me up the wall. So I get Jim giving up, but I think he might be back once it picks up. So.
Maybe. We'll see.
Crossing my fingers, Jim, that you'll come back to the show.
Well, guys, we have another AMC show to talk about. How do you feel about switching gears a little bit?
Yeah, let's
go into
ready?
Overdrive.
Sure.
All right, so we're gonna switch tracks and talk about Better Call Saul. So, Mr. Heslin, is this a show that you have been waiting to come back with in anticipation?
I have. I heard an interview of somebody saying that, this is a spin-off. How rare is it that you get a spin-off that is sort of as good, if not better, but in a different way than the original show? I mean, it's rare that you get something like this, and the first season of Better Call Saul was so great for me. I just thought it was such a great examination of this character and the history of this character, and there's so many ways they can go with it, and it still lives in the world, but in a different section of the world. I really loved it, and the first episode back, the premiere episode, which is what we'll be talking about. There's been 2 episodes so far, but me and Casey haven't caught up yet. But the premiere episode was sort of didn't let down either. For me, it's you really get an inside look at the skill that Jimmy has at just manipulating people, and just he's such a freestyle scam artist, and and so you get to kind of see a little bit of that. The only thing in this episode, I mean, it starts off with him sort of turning down this job offer that he got at the end of season 1, and sort of just lounging and relaxing and everything, and but then at the end of the episode, he kind of realizes, I think, that he has to forget all that and take the job. And that, I didn't really get why he did that, why he took the job at the end. It sort of didn't make sense for me. Like, he kind of said, I'm never going to, do this. I'm going to, take every opportunity I can. I'm going to, rip people off, and then all of a sudden he just kind of was like, I gotta take the job.
Right.
It didn't really make sense to me. But I'm interested to see where it goes. And in true, I think, sort of Breaking Bad style, I love this really innocuous scene at the end where he's in this brand new office that he's given, and he looks out the window, and right next to the window there's a little switch with a piece of tape over it that says never turn on or do not turn off at any time. And he peels it back and turns it off just to see what happens. It's just this scene where he's like staring at it and he's peeling the tape off, and it's like it means totally nothing, but I loved it. I don't know. There's something about the style of these shows, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, that is so quiet and subtle, but just I love it. I eat it up.
Well, I think in a way it's a great commentary on human nature, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you guys, but if you tell me not to do something, I kind of want to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And
If you're like,
anyway, that's his character.
yeah,
And he
absolutely.
said that earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of he's kind of rebelling against society in a lot of different ways, and he keeps putting himself in these situations where it's like he has to be the responsible one, right? Like with his brother, who we didn't see Chuck this episode at all, did we? I don't think we did.
Yeah, he interacts with his new assistant, and Chuck is outside of his house but doesn't go in.
What?
Oh wow, I totally don't remember that
at all.
You don't remember that?
No.
Huh.
Was that in the finale?
I think it was in the preview. I think it's a preview for the next
maybe.
episode.
Yeah, because he saw
okay.
because he was interacting with the new assistant who was from the law firm who was going over and working with him.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't remember that. I didn't watch the preview. Maybe it was the preview, but
It might have been in the preview.
but yeah, so that's kind of his character, and I'm a little confused too, Steven, as to why, after all this build-up, like, he turned down the interview, and then he's lounging in the pool, and what I thought was, like, one of the most brilliant moments on TV ever, he gets, he totally cons this guy.
It was
like
so wonderful. I love that whole scene.
Oh my God. And
So much
she falls into it as his partner in crime. Like, at first she's resistant, and then it becomes effortless, right? She's all like, "My name is Giselle," like it was just, it was such a beautiful sequence. Like, it made me want to go to like the Westward Look Resort here in Tucson and totally like pull that scam on somebody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I really like this show too, and I think a lot of it is just because I am a nut when it comes to like characters who sort of subvert expectations and who do things that are not good for them, but maybe they have good intentions in doing so. The whole notion of flipping the switch in the office, I really think he did it because he's like, I don't think anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was kind of hoping maybe it was a test from his new bosses. Like maybe there's a camera on him to see how trustworthy he is. Like I was expecting someone to walk in and like fire him like as soon as. But interested to see where things go. I'm really getting interested in the Mike Ehrmantraut arm of the story.
Yeah.
Oh man, that stupid guy with like his Hummer too.
Oh, I
like,
forgot about all that. That
and
was
his
so
shoes.
great.
Oh my God.
Right. His baseball cards.
And I guess he's supposed to be like Canadian or something. Like he has this
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
Right. But like he's like droning on and on about his baseball cards,
Oh my
and I
God.
just wanted to reach through the screen and just punch him.
I know.
But what I thought was interesting is like as all that's going on, I'm looking around and I thought to myself, it's weird. There's so much crap on the floor. Why isn't there anything on the floor in front of the couch?
Right.
Yeah.
And then like at the end of it, the cops noticed the same thing, and I'm like, oh, I noticed that. Without even paying attention to it, I noticed that. So I'm kind of wondering, what's going to happen with this whole thing, and I don't know. I like that this show is just doing things to keep me guessing. I'm just hoping that they explain this new job thing and why he took it, because right now I'm just scratching my head and I maybe I don't get it. Casey, what about you? I mean, does it make sense to you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, this is a show that I even forgot was on last year, honestly. I mean, it was very good, but it's not great. And it's still not great. I mean, and I'm not comparing it to Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is like peerless. There's you can't compare any show to Breaking Bad. I think it's intriguing. I think the acting is really good. I think it's really well made. But like, there's a reason that I forgot to record the episode last night. It's not appointment TV for me. I missed the finale last year, so I had to revisit it. And yeah, I missed it, and I just never caught up with it 8 months ago because I was just like, well, I'm pretty sure nothing major happened, so I think I'll be fine. It's really good. I really like it, and the premiere actually got me really more interested in where it's going to go this season. I really am more interested in the Mike story at this point and where that's going to go with this weird guy and his baseball cards. I thought that was my favorite part of the whole episode. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think the reason it was interesting that the whole thing with him going into this job was prefaced by him trying to get what's her face on the phone, and she doesn't answer. And I think he kind of realized, well, you know, everyone's moving forward and doing stuff, and he can't sit still. So you know, and you know, so I think that's going to get old for him. And I think he knew that if he took this job, he'd be moving forward and doing something and staying active. And so yeah, I thought yeah, this is the right choice for you. So it made sense that he went to this job.
How great was that floaty thing he was sitting in with the floaty nachos and his cell phone in a plastic bag?
That was great. I was like, wait, what is that in? I thought it was like some super fancy cell phone thing. And I was like, oh, it's just a Ziploc or something. I was like, that is so low rent and trash.
It was so great.
It is great. I was like, oh wow, he is just he just doesn't give a shit. He's just like, I'm just gonna put my phone in a Ziploc and I don't give a shit.
And I also enjoyed seeing Bob Odenkirk with his shirt open. I won't lie.
Yeah, that was nice.
A nice little hairy treat for me, you know.
I did like the opener where it reminds us that, you know, in now time, he is living this anonymous life as the manager of a Cinnabon. And it's funny because he gets locked into this room, and it really punches home his dead-end existence where he's he's trapped, he's not going anywhere, nothing is happening.
You know what I didn't even think about, though? In the beginning of the episode, when he is trapped in there, he looks at the door and doesn't do it.
Right.
And later on, he does flip the switch. I forgot to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he's kind of broken or just barricaded in that sense, right? He cannot be himself, and that's the metaphor right there for it. So I think those two scenes parallel, you know, for a reason. But
can we talk about how is it just me, or is it really ridiculous that AMC is trying to do a talking Saul thing?
Oh, yeah. It's cheap.
First of all, the title makes no sense because Talking Dead is it rhymes with Walking Dead. Talking Saul doesn't make any sense.
Why didn't they do Better Talk Saul?
Something. Something that makes sense. Second of all, this is like, for me, I don't think this is, we have to watch this live because something major is going to happen TV. So you're not going to want to sit and talk about the show after it's done. It's not that kind of a show.
You know why they do it? Here's the exact reason why.
Give Chris Hardwick more work, probably?
No. It costs them pennies on the dollar to produce, and they get so much more in advertising. It's cheap production. They just have a set, they invite a few guests, and people talk.
Right.
And, you know, and they fill, an hour with that crap? Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Every show has one. Every show we watch has an after show, and it's like, you know, we didn't need after shows for a century. Why do we need one for everything now?
Well, I think it also takes away from the kind of thing where you're talking about it with
friends,
other people. Yeah, it takes that communication away. And I don't watch Talking Dead, but there are certain episodes after big episodes like the Look at the Flowers episode. I wanted to watch Talking Dead because I wanted to know, you know, what Melissa McBride had to say about shooting that episode. But not every episode's like that. Like I didn't want to watch The Talking Dead after the 2 episodes so far this half season. So yeah, I prefer talking about it with you guys and other people
Exactly.
who've watched the show and what we think about it. I don't really need to. I get that it's providing more bonus content and more of an incentive to watch it live,
But it's also all praise.
it doesn't make
There's
sense.
never going to be a time where they're going to go on the Talking Dead or Talking Saul and say like, "Oh my God, that was a crap episode. I hated it."
Right. You're never going to say, "Well, what the hell was this shit with Glenn?" What what were you thinking? Why did you do this? Right. So it's very self-serving. But the whole Talking Saul thing, I was like, "Are you kidding me? This makes no sense. This does not mix with the way this show is and the way it's structured." I just had to ask if it was just me.
Yeah.
It was just what is going on here, AMC?
And my suspicion too is that because it's on so late, it's almost like they need to put something on that hour of programming, but it's so late that they're not gonna.
They just do an encore of the same episode.
Right.
Exactly.
Like we didn't have Talking Mad Men. That would have been interesting, actually. There are certain things I would have probably gleaned from that, but
what would you call it? Chatmen? I don't know.
Chatmen. Yeah, I don't know. No,
I'd watch that.
Lazy like AMC and just talking mad.
Talking mad.
I don't know. You would just make it talking whatever. Like it doesn't require any creativity whatsoever. Yeah. It's just. I saw that and I started laughing. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But. Stupid. Well, shall we move on to our final show of the evening?
Yeah.
Let's
do
get
it.
some
So wait,
Survivor.
we're all going to keep watching Better Call Saul, right?
I will be.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, me too. I mean, I like it. And I love Bob Odenkirk. It's just I don't think I'm as in love with it as a lot of other people.
I think it's a slow burn that by the end of it you'll be like, "Oh my God, I'm glad I stuck with it."
Right. I mean, it's not Fargo, where
Oh God, Fargo.
that I can compare it to.
I miss Fargo.
Yeah, I do too. And that's the thing. I think I'm coming into this season after something like Fargo a couple months ago, and I'm just like, this isn't mystical or
Fargo's kind of a phenomenon, though. I mean,
it is, and it's not fair to compare the two, but it's just kind of like, it's not Fargo. But I'll definitely keep watching it. I like it enough.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And then I'll keep watching.
You've got Casey Scott still at the ready to watch your show. So
both of your shows. I'll keep watching Walking Dead too, even with this response. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and head on out to sea, I guess, and talk about Survivor. I love that theme song.
I really do. I don't get tired of it.
I totally do. So Survivor is back.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
It seems like it's been such a long hiatus for Survivor, even though it was like
probably a month.
2 months, I think, right?
Yeah.
December 18th to February 18th or something like that. Man, this continues to be one of my favorite shows on TV, and we've got a new season this time around. There are no returning players. It's a brand new group of folks, even though it's not a brand new theme, unfortunately. And I will say, as much as I love Survivor, guys, this whole brains versus brawn versus beauty thing is, I don't know, it's wearing thin. It's the second time they've done this, and I'm actually really confused this time around because some of the folks that are like on these different tribes,
I think they took one per group and rotated it because. There's a guy in the brains that should definitely be in the brawn. There's a guy in the brawn that should definitely be in the beauty, and there's a guy in the beauty that should definitely be in the brains.
Right.
It's just weird that they would do that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why would you?
And not talk about it.
Right. It's bizarre. I don't get it, but there's a lot of things here to be excited about. Apparently, this season is going to have more medical evacuations than any other season.
I don't understand why they're proud
injuries.
of that. That's the thing I like least about the show.
Exactly.
I want to be able to compete and not have to leave for medical reasons.
Right.
I think it's competition with Naked and Afraid. A lot of people love to watch Naked and Afraid. because there's actual like danger drama there. You know what I mean? So, and I will say that thing with the girl with the bug in her ear.
I had to almost turn the TV off. It was so.
Yeah.
Like, get it? When they shot it and showed the bug crawling in her ear, I'm like, somebody get it the fuck out of her ear.
I know. I was like,
showing it. Get it
right.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't picture that. I could picture the camera crew like, okay, just hold it. We'll get it in a minute. We have this really good shot. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Get it out of there.
You know what I think? You know what I think it was though. I think it. Because I went back and kind of rewound it and watched it again. Mm-hmm. I think they took one clip of the bug kind of coming out and like walking a little bit, and then they like cut to someone else talking and cut back, and then they show the same clip again. So I think it was just the same 2 seconds of footage. I think it just seemed like it was
I bet
longer.
you it was either that, or because it was so close on an ear, maybe it was like a production assistant or something, they recreated it or something because, you know, like they had a perfect shot of the bug crawling out of an ear. Yeah. But at the same time, when she was like, there's a bug in my ear and she's screaming, I was like, where's Jeff Probst? Why aren't they medevacing her?
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, there was nobody coming to her attention. She's like screaming in pain and saying it's burrowing into her brain.
Right. She's like, I can hear it crawling around and burrowing into my head.
I was getting the chills.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think this was the best season opener ever. I don't know that this will be the best season ever. I'm not going to talk about my favorite players yet because we're about to do our MBP TV Survivor draft pick tomorrow, so I'm not going to clue you guys into who I might be picking.
I have my people from my other pool.
I had a favorite, but I think he's going to be gone pretty quickly.
Interesting. Really? Your favorite is a dude. I see.
Well, I said I had a favorite. Now.
Darnell, R.I.P. I'm sorry, your favorite was eliminated already.
Casey, how are you feeling about this season so far?
I'm really liking it. First of all, I have to preface this by saying that I got back into Survivor because of you guys in this show. And you guys talked about it, and I was just like, really, Survivor? Okay, let's do this. And so since in the off-season, I've watched 17 complete seasons and bought them all on Amazon. I've been watching all of these from season 1 I'm through season 15, and then I watched season 20 to 24. So that's more than seasons. Yeah, I've been watching season after season. And so I have my favorite players, I have my favorite seasons, favorite episodes and stuff. So obviously going into this, I was like, okay, I'm really super prepared now. Like, I know what's going on in the show. The thing about the beauty, brains, and brawn thing is I think it kind of is like it's not going to make any difference, just like the last season when they merge tribes or shake things up. It's not going to matter. So I don't think it should be in the title. Kind of like when Cook Islands had the tribes that were in different races. And that was made a big deal of in the publicity, but that lasted 2 episodes, and then everyone was switched up. So I think it's an interesting gimmick, but it doesn't mean anything in the long run.
Well, I think people form their bonds very quickly in their initial tribe, and even though they switch it up, even like last season when they tried to switch it up constantly, people always said like, I'm part of the original Papua tribe or whatever, you know, and so I think even though they do switch it up, and I get what you're saying, I think that initial bond of like I'm a brain or I'm a beauty or I'm a brawn sticks with them.
That is true. I think that could be true. But I think there are enough, I don't know, from this first episode, I think there are enough players that are strategic enough that they know that they will go with numbers. So if their team has been depleted before they mix things up, then they're going to go with where the numbers are.
Yeah.
And that's what happened last season. That's what happened last Brains and Brawn. So I really like it. I definitely have my favorites. I don't really think there are that many losers in the bunch. I think it's pretty well cast this season. There are a few that I just can't stand. I will say who my least favorites are. That Diana, who is so annoying.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked her in her pre-show interviews and stuff because she sounded like she was like a jack of all trades and she had all this experience, but she will not shut up about it.
No.
she won't talk about. She wants to talk about how great she is. It's funny because Stephen Fishback said that he was getting a real coach vibe from her, and she is kind of like a female coach where she will talk about all of this stuff that she's done. and not demonstrate anything.
Exactly.
She's like, yeah, well,
she's like, I'm an expert at fire.
This is how you do it. This is how you do it. And I'm just like, you make the fire. If you know how to make the fire, then get there and tell them how to do it. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So, no, I'm really liking it a lot. And I really like that it was a 90-minute premiere because it gave everyone equal camera time and equal confessionals. Right. So you really got a sense of who everybody was. And a lot of premieres don't do that with new casts. So, yeah, I really like it. I'm super excited.
Sweet.
I'm listening to all of the podcasts and all the press and everything. I'm totally on board. So.
Wow, I'm so thrilled to hear that our love of Survivor has helped spark you to get into it so much. That's
God, I'm so into it. Yeah, you can ask Will Lindis actually, because anytime I'm watching a season, I'll message him out of the blue like, "Oh my God, I'm watching season 8, and oh my God, I can't believe this stuff." Yeah, so we will talk back and forth for hours about least favorite episodes and characters doing stupid shit and underrated characters.
That's awesome. That guy is like a Survivor knowledge god. Like
he really is. It's crazy. Yeah, he's one of the best people that I could talk about the show with. And he's always, and I'm like, I'm sorry that I'm coming to you with this, but I don't know if anyone else wants to talk about a season from 2002. And he's like, oh no, I definitely. He remembers all of the people, so I'll bring it up. And he's like, oh yeah, their game was really underrated, and he'll bring up the stuff they did. And I'm like, how can you remember that? Oh my God. So
that's great. Nice. Yeah. Well, Steven, how about you, my friend? How are you feeling about this season so far?
I mean, good. I always try not to judge a season too early. I mean, the first episode was good. I don't really have a good sense of a lot of the characters. I have a couple people that I think are interesting characters that I really want to keep an eye out on. But there's we were talking about this pool that we're going to be doing, and it was just kitty cat. It was just that they. I looked at a web page with all the characters on it, and I was like, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" There's a lot of the women that are just sort of forgettable to me.
The pretty girls kind of.
Is it because they don't have penises, Steven?
I think that could be it, but also it's just I think for the women they always cast these. Like you just said, Casey, they always cast these pretty women, and the only ones that really stand out are the ones that are different, the older ones or the uglier ones. Those I remember. There were a couple women on there. I'm like, oh yeah, her. But then there were 5 women that look exactly the same to me. I'm like, you're a college student. I don't know. I don't,
exactly.
I can't remember what your personality is whatsoever.
Right. Well, the college student and then the boxing, the Alicia girl who was at risk in the premiere. Those 2 blondes, I get them mixed up, so I forget which tribe they're on. And I'm just like, they're not going to win us anyway. So.
It's so weird though, because then on the male side, they cast a really wide variety of people that I can easily identify. But I also didn't get a good sense that really muscular old guy. I don't think he spoke once. So I'm not getting a good sense of everyone, but I really I love it when they do these kind of brains, brawn, beauty, because I feel like you said, Casey, at some point it doesn't matter because they mix everyone up, but they still stick with it in their head, and they're like, I got to represent brawn. It's like, no, you don't. You gotta keep doing it. And I always think it's funny, that it's just, brains have to stick together. It's like, why? Just because you were labeled that? And it's just stupid.
Well, it reminds me of the last Brains versus where the Brains team was the biggest bunch of yahoos. Yeah, they were just insane. It reminds me of what's her face. I think it was Takia was her name. Who threw the rice in the fire, and I was like, she's on the Brains tribe? How did that happen? the least brainy thing I've ever seen on the show.
Exactly.
What was that? Yeah, no.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I'll be watching Survivor until they take it off the air. Yeah. I think it's always entertaining TV for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting to see where things go this season. Again, I'm hesitant to talk about some of the players because I might tip you guys off to who I want my draft pick.
Goodness.
I think the next episode we'll have a little more to talk about. But let's say we wrap up and move into some plugs. Are you guys ready for that?
Sure.
Actually, can we honorable mention to some of the male eye candy on this season?
Oh, sure.
Did you notice that Scott Pollard, the basketball player, wears these very clingy underwear, and CBS has decided not to blur out his package, and he has this giant schlong.
Yeah, we noticed.
Yeah,
like,
totally noticed.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm sure he's not disappointed with them not blurring his package. I was just like, wow, this Neanderthal man is making some woman very happy. Like,
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because like every season since like season 10, they fucking blurred out the dick outlines. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I get it, CBS, Family Channel, whatever, but like, I don't know, they don't blur out the cleavage, you know?
I know.
What I mean? So
it's
sometimes they do, and they blur out little ass crack too. They do.
They always
the
blur
seasons
ass
that I've been
crack.
revisiting, they
well,
do.
yeah, they've definitely blurred ass crack, but like like when Parvati walks around in her swimsuit and her like giant busty whatever, like they're about to fly out, like they don't blur that shit at all.
Oh my God.
So it feels a little bit like a double standard to me, but I'm glad they're not blurring it. I'm enjoying seeing it. I wouldn't mind seeing Caleb in a little non-blur action.
Yeah.
He wasn't really in any skimpy clothing like
No.
that on Big Brother, unfortunately. So I would be happy to see that. But
Well, the premiere for next week makes it look like Ty, representing family, has decided, representing the family, has decided to try to make a move on him and give him a
And gets a little rapey. You know?
yeah,
It's like, yikes!
Yeah.
Can we not do that? You're representing, like,
you're
Exactly.
giving us a bad. At least give him a few beers first.
right? Exactly. Wait until a reward challenge if you make it that far, and then wait till you.
And
get
then
some
convince
drinks
him
in
a mouth is a mouth, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Oh my god! And really, who among us hasn't tried to do? No, no.
Exactly.
I will. Well, no comment.
I had a straight guy question mark one time
Right.
call me up in the middle of the night, and that was an interesting,
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
thing.
Sure.
But I never like pressure, you know what I mean? Like you never
Right.
know what people's. I can't even imagine like going up to some guy you think is cute and he's straight and you just plant one on him. Like
Yeah.
No.
that's pretty like
kinda
rapist
risky.
101.
No,
Yeah.
I was like, come
No.
on, Ty, I'm liking you. Could you not do that? I didn't like him
Right.
searching for the idols either. Like,
Oh, that was stupid.
It's
I was just
very
like, dude, we haven't
stupid.
even had a challenge yet. Can't you wait?
Well,
Like,
and I kind of wonder if he's ever actually watched the show before because
people have wondered that. Yeah.
yeah, they never hide the idol under like a sapling. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to pull trees out of the ground.
And he loves
know?
They
trees,
did
and
that.
he's ripping them out of the
They did that in the
ground.
early seasons of the Idol, like back in Guatemala and stuff, where you had to dig for it. But yeah, the recent seasons they hide them in like the crooks of trees and shit. Like they're
Right,
not-
because nowadays they just find idols by walking along.
Exactly.
And
They
looking
stumble.
for
They
spots,
stumble
you
upon
know.
them. Like, oh, let's go get some
Right.
water. Oh shit, there's an idol. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't
Right.
try. That's why last season was great when they were hidden in the challenges.
I love that.
That was
I
awesome.
love that. That
That
was
was
Kelly-
brilliant.
That's when Kelly Wentworth won my
so
heart.
great.
Yeah, I love that girl so much.
Oh goodness! All right. Well, let's switch to some plugs. Casey, what have you got this week?
Oh my gosh, I'm watching so much. Well, first of all, Broad City's back, and that show is so good. The new season's really good, and that's on Wednesday night too. So I got to watch Survivor, and then I stay up a little later and watch Broad City. So that's good. And one more plug. Colony. I will plug Colony again on USA. It's Carlton Cuse from Lost has done this new show with Josh Holloway from Lost, and the actress who played Lori on Walking Dead. And she's way better and less irritating on this show than she was in Walking Dead. She's actually really awesome on this show, and it's really good. It's it's an alien invasion show, and there's kind of a resistance. It's kind of like the French underground during the Nazi regime. It's very political, and it's great. It's really good. Actually, I think if you watched Battlestar Galactica, you'd probably like it because it had it has some of those themes where there's kind of like the insurgency going on, and so I think you'd like it. Yeah,
Have to check it out.
it's good stuff.
Sweet. All right. Very cool. How about you, Steven?
I'm gonna do a half plug.
Just a half.
Well, we just finished London Spy.
Oh yeah, it's good, right?
That's why it's the half plug. It's really good. I recommend people watch it because it's not what I thought it was going to be whatsoever. Like it's unlike anything I've ever seen, I think, the storyline wise, and but I think it's really well done. The half plug is because the ending, I think, completely blew.
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet.
I was so upset, but it's so. I feel like people should watch it, but don't have high hopes for.
Oh God!
I don't know if that makes sense.
That is a half plug. It's kind of like watch it, but the ending is going to let you down. Right? Exactly.
And I'll fill the other half of that plug with I've been recently catching up on old episodes of Billy on the Street. And,
I love that show.
So brilliant. Every episode we laugh. It's just hilarious.
It's good stuff.
So.
It's funny.
Half plug it is then.
Yeah.
Plug it in, plug it out.
So the London Spy, doesn't it kind of remind you of Weekend a little bit? Do you ever see that movie Weekend?
Oh God, a long
the
time
Andrew
ago.
Haig who did Looking.
I loved that movie.
Yeah, it's London Spy's very similar to that, I think, in tone and structure. Yeah.
Speaking of Looking, when are we getting the Looking finale movie?
I don't know. Hopefully soon.
Is that being done?
It is.
Well, they said
they were going to do it, but I never saw anything about it going into production.
That was a year ago, so I don't know.
Well, Daniel Francese is on Recovery Road now, and then Raul Castillo was just cast in a new pilot. So they're all still working, which is good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
We just get to see Daniel Francese's giant schlong on Recovery Road. What a bummer.
Oh, goodness. Well, actually, one of the Looking alums is in a show that I want to plug.
Oh.
He was the one that played, what was his name? Augustine or something? Like the artist dude who had a... Augustine!
Yeah.
That's what it was. So, for some reason, I am not able to load Google.com right now. I don't know what's going on, Google. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Perfect. So the show that I want to plug this week is called The Expanse. It is a sci-fi show. And I'm late to the party because people were watching it. I guess it fired up mid-December, and it just concluded a few weeks ago. But Cass Anvar, who played Augustine in Looking, plays like the pilot of this like spacefaring cargo ship type thing, and Thomas Jane from Hung plays a detective on this show. He's like a space detective. But this show, have you guys watched it at all?
Not at all.
No, it's supposed to be great. I need to start watching.
Yeah, so basic premise is kind of like Battlestar Galactica sort of intersects with like a noir detective kind of story, which intersects with like a West Wing United Nations in space kind of story. It's kind of awesome. There's like these three distinct arms, and as the season goes, you get the sense that everything is sort of merging together to like one boiling point where everything's going to intersect. And it's been a long time since there's been a sci-fi original show that has captured my interest, and I got to tell you, they haven't had anything this good since Battlestar Galactica ended. Wow. This show is fucking phenomenal. There's only 9 episodes, so they're each 42 minutes. It's really easy to burn through. I've burned through 7 already, and I just started watching it Sunday. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's so good that it's hard for me to like this morning, for instance, I watched an episode before work, and I was like, I could be half an hour late to work and start up another episode. That would be okay.
Wow.
That's dangerous. Okay, we're not going to do that.
Oh my god. I've done that.
Have you?
that is love for a show. Yeah.
Right. It's just at the end of every episode, I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? I have to find out.
That's good.
Yeah. So I haven't been this impressed with the show in a long time. So I know we all have a bazillion things to watch, but if you're ever looking for something new, you guys or listeners, if you like something that's a little sci-fi, little noir detective story, a little West Wing thriller, totally check out The Expanse on Sci-Fi.
And that's on Sci-Fi too?
Yeah, it's on the Sci-Fi channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, The Magicians is on Sci-Fi, and that's really good too.
Oh, really?
They're really doing some good shows, surprisingly.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go Sci-Fi channel.
Yeah.
All right.
Shocking. Oh wait, Steven, before we go, are you still watching American Crime?
I have them all taped. I just
my
haven't
God.
caught up. I'm only on like episode 3, but we have them all taped. We just
my
need to catch
God.
up.
It's
Is it good?
Yeah, every episode gets more intense and intense, and the one last week was bonkers. Left me
Okay,
speechless.
I'm excited. We want to catch up. It's just we've been watching American Crime Story also.
Oh gosh, how is that?
Yeah.
All over the place. I love it, but it's like it's almost turned super campy, you know, because
Lord,
it's
of
basically they take a revisionist history and look at stuff. You know, like I don't know if you've seen the little clip that everyone's been playing where it's like Robert Kardashian with all of his kids, and he does his speech, and it's a slow push on him. He does a speech where he goes, "Guys, flame is fleeting. If you don't have a good heart and want to care about people and be true to your friends, fame is nothing and hollow," you know, and like, and you know, of course, these kids, all his kids turn out to be fame whores that are hollow. You know, so it's like it's these weird takes on stuff, and there's lots of scenes with Marsha Clark going like, "We've got this in the bag. There's nothing that can stop us," you know, and you know, so it's kind of campy in that respect. But
Nice.
That sounds very Ryan Murphy to me.
exactly, but at the same time, it's well done. It's very enjoyable.
Okay. All right. Well, that does indeed wrap us up for this week. Thank you for hanging out with us. Stephen, I think it's adorable that you say you have things taped when there's no tape.
I still say that too. It's a generational.
I can't do it.
I know. It just, I do the same thing. So
what do the youngins say?
I don't.
DVR'd, I think.
They say DVR'd? Okay.
They say DVR'd.
Or recorded, probably.
I still say tape too.
Yeah.
People look at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Listen, it's a thing, you know. It's like saying when someone puts out a new album, it's not on an LP.
Well, it's the same thing. Anymore. Like, you know, Sean's from the East Coast, and he always says, "I stand online," and I go, "I don't get it." I look at him like, "What? You're online when you're standing?" And he's like, "You stand online." I'm like, "No, you stand in line and you get online. So you stand online and get online." And I'm like,
Does he also call shopping carts carriages?
No. No.
Because Jim does that. We'll walk into the grocery store. He's like, "Why don't you go over there and get a carriage?" And I'm like, "Is there a fucking pumpkin that's going to turn into a horse-drawn carriage? Like, what are you looking at?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, a carriage. Like, the shopping cart." I'm like,
"Yeah."
Oh.
No, the only thing he always gets with me is it's just the different ways of saying it. Like, I'll say daughter, and he goes, "What? She does a bunch of dots?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Do you mean daughter?" And I'm like, "No, it's daughter."
Oh my god,
that's awesome.
I love that. My dream man is someone who talks like that.
Oh, there you go.
Stay away from him.
All right,
there's
everyone.
a whole coast full of them. I'll find one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everyone. Have a good one. Take care. We'll see you.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Enjoy TV.